One. Bam! Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe hier. I am your Kettlebell host. This evening, I'm going to answer all of your questions pertaining to kettlebells. So welcome to the stream. Before we get started, I want to give you a word from our sponsors, which is of course Lebe. We have a great and powerful sale going, and you'll find the access to that 91% off sale in the live chat, also in the description. And it is worth checking out. Think about the questions that you have. I'm going to start with the questions that Jason posted in the live chat from the Kettlebell Dojo, which, by the way, you can get access to if you jump in on this sale. So let's have a word from our sponsors.
Join our exclusive Over 40 sale. You pay one time and you get lifetime access and save $5,763 in the process. Here's what you're getting: hundreds of follow-along workouts, skill lessons, tutorials, weekly new content, and access to the Kettlebell Dojo for 90% off the original price. These are the courses that you are getting. You see them on the screen right now: the 6-week Kettlebell Challenge, the Iron Flow, the Stranger Swings season, Crossbells, Bolt, the 30-day Kettlebell Challenge, 90 days of kettlebells, 90 gains of kettlebells, the Hybrid Style Masterclass, Never Rest Ladders, and all these challenge courses and even more. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to add a couple of bonuses. Number one, Steve Carter's seminar that he held with Angie and me in 2019, and it's valued at close to $800. It's a powerful bonus, and this is one of the biggest kettlebell learning experience I've ever had. Uber bonus number two, you get access to the Kettlebell Dojo valued at $2,497 US. You're invited to join the #1 kettlebell community on School. The Kettlebell Dojo comes complete with its exclusive course system, exercises, belt tests, leaderboards, and challenges, all aimed at achieving your ultimate goal of becoming a kettlebell black belt. Yes, you've heard me right. These are belt tests that you have to do in order to achieve your next level. And come on, we have been waiting for a belt system in the kettlebell sphere. The Kettlebell Dojo also comes equipped with a leaderboard system which gamifies your experience and your training process. As you ascend in rank, you unlock the next belt, and this brings forth a new test to conquer. And as I've mentioned, we have a challenge going right now, and that is the following: how many swings can the entire dojo collectively complete within a span of 30 days? And here's proof. We currently sit at 35,775 swings. Challenges like these will happen every month, which will help you boost your kettlebell journey. You also get access to the Facebook group, our weekly new workouts, and our mobile apps. But of course, I'm not going to stop right there. I guarantee 100% that our programs will impress you, or I will refund every cent without questions in the next 30 days. The value of this package sits at over $6,000, but you can get it for either $579 as a one-time payment or $57.90 per month for the next 12 months. Here's what you're getting: access to the complete Kettlebell Plus library that's over 19 courses, over 200 hours of video content, over 200 follow-along workouts, over 20 exercise tutorials, the seminar with Steve Carter, Facebook group, the Kettlebell Dojo, the mobile apps, new workouts every week, access to the #1 kettlebell community in the world, monthly challenges, accountability, and support, and no recurring payment if you choose the one-time option, where you also save an additional 20%, or 12 monthly payments if you choose the budget option for a monthly payment for the next 12 months. As you can see, the sale doesn't last long, and every time it's finished, we have people reaching out to us saying, "Oh, Gregory, I missed it." So you have to be quick. Pay one time, get lifetime access, and save $5,763 in the process, which is 91% off the original price. So join Kettlebell Ultimate right now.
Big stuff, ladies and gentlemen, big stuff. And we have it for you in store. And by the way, I got something awesome prepared for the Kettlebell Dojo that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Matter of fact, it's going to kick off the August challenge. And if this thing goes well, it's probably going to be something bigger than the dojo or than our community. I've already talked to a couple of folks, but I'm getting ahead of myself. But this is going to be an awesome project. And everybody who joins the Kettlebell Dojo, and if you join the sale, you'll have access and you'll be in that pilot project. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Q&A, so let's get started. Question from Dottie, a wonderful addition to the Kettlebell Club. Kettlebell Dojo. Benefits of reverse grip versus standard. Does it make a difference in movement and performance? Let me switch the camera so I can show you what the difference really is. So, you should still be able to hear me loud and clear. Let me just make sure the system isn't failing me, because I'm moving a little bit ahead of you. So let me just make sure that the sound is still running, looking solid. So, all right. Difference, friends. This is a question that we receive often. And it's actually always put on display when Angie and I train. Angie likes to so-called, we call it front hand, and I like to train according to the backhand. Now, is there a difference? First, let's talk about what this really is. The front hand swing, clean snatch, especially with the ballistics, looks like this. Thumbs up. So, thumbs is always pointing up, like this. The backhand, on the other hand, is this. Watch. So difference is thumbs back, as we like to call it, the backhand. It is preference, but there is a difference. When I swing with thumbs up, when the kettlebell reconnects with my body, we call this the ABC, arm-body contact or arm-body connection, then as you can see, my elbow stops right here. It doesn't bend, right? So from this position, I feel more pressure on my muscles, on my biceps. And when I clean the kettlebell up, I have this additional pressure. This can serve as a spring effect. With double kettlebells, I always have my thumbs up when I clean them, because this additional spring effect, gives me some additional oomph when I clean the kettlebell into the rack position. However, with one arm in my case, is when I turn it backwards, what we call the backhand. Look what happens when the arm reconnects with the body. The elbow is able to bend a little bit. You see that? So therefore, since the elbow is a little bit bending, pressure is released. So I'm not additionally fatiguing my arm, but I'm losing a little bit of that spring effect. In the snatch, in the clean, in the swing, with one arm, I always use the backhand. But with doubles, I want to get that additional spring effect. But at the end of the day, it is preference. Dottie, I hope this answers your question. And Jason, by the way, can you already keep an eye on the timeline so you can then make sure that we are already rocking with
one time and you get
with the timestamps, so that we already know the questions, and then at the end we can then add the timestamps right in the description. That would be awesome. Jason, just keep an eye on the timestamp and the timeline. Question number 2, benefits of is there a reason why the asked workout starts with the left side? Is it because you should start with your non-dominant hand? So if you're a lefty, you start with your right? Exactly. I love how you guys answer your questions by yourselves. That's the reason why it makes sense to start always with the weaker side. Always do the stuff you don't like first. All right? So that's the reason why we always say start with the non-dominant hand. Please put questions before your question. So, all right, here we go. So here we go. The fellow Jason has entered the chat. Lukas is again in the building. Yo. A hello from Chicago. Yo. Somehow I have a strange feeling in the downward phase, F says. Somehow I have a strange feeling in the downward phase of the snatch. Do I have any disadvantages when I'm always doing the half snatch? So only the upward part feels better for me. All right, so what is the major reason why you are having, let me just make sure if the system is not failing me. So it's all good. Great. So the downward phase of the snatch. I imagine, so let me switch the camera again and let me show you this. I imagine you're having an issue. The snatch, by the way, is a very skillful exercise, requires a lot of technique. So, a lot of people have an issue with the downward phase. And let me just explain the downward phase, because that way you maybe understand it a little bit better. Therefore, you can try the full snatch. And by the way, if you always opt in for the half snatch, keep going. You'll reap the benefits of this powerful exercise because it's a full body exercise. Yes, we take a little bit of the momentum and of the oomph, I like that word, out of the exercise. You're still getting lots of bang for your buck with the half snatch. But with the downward phase, what is happening? And I completely understand where you come from because I was in the same position. So, if I have the kettlebell overhead and now I drop it into the back swing, here's what most beginners do. They drop it and they let the arm fall forward, and this creates a big arc or a big half circle, which means a lot of kinetic energy from that movement from the bell is dropping down, and then your body has to catch that energy. And often it looks like this, boom, right? Especially heavier weights, it rips you apart. That's probably that awkward feeling that you're experiencing currently. So, how can you mitigate this? It's a little bit of a technical issue, but it's fairly easy to understand. If I always drop the kettlebell way out in front of me like this, then as you can see, there's a big distance between the arm and my body. I don't want that. I want to keep that distance close. So once the kettlebell drops, watch what I do. First of all, I use this maneuver. If I have the hand like this, I do this. We call it the corkscrew. Turning the palm towards me, which means the kettlebell, which sits right here, is now, watch, I can show like this, which now, whoom, if I do this, the kettlebell rolls around my forearm and then immediately wants to drop, so I let gravity do its thing. Once this happens, I pull my hand back to keep the kettlebell close to my body, and I also lean back a little bit. But here's the key. I do not lean back with a hyperextended spine, but little technical, I go into a kyphotic position of the spine. So I bend my upper back. You see the difference? Not this, but this. I shove my upper body back, yes, but I round it at the same time. So therefore, the kettlebell drops, and now watch. Can you see that? The difference, the distance between my elbow and my body is way smaller. So therefore, it doesn't rip me apart, but I immediately am able to get contact with the body. Let me show you what this looks like. The good version. The bad version. See? So, corkscrew it, bend the elbow, bend your upper spine, keep the elbow close to the body, reconnect, backswing. There you go. I hope this answers your question, brother or sister, whatever that F stands for. Here we go. Di Cristo, question. I get a pain in my biceps when cleaning the kettlebell. Any tips on how not to involve the biceps that much? I think I'm curling a portion of the movement without realizing it. Man, Di Cristo, my brother, we just explained it. And now I can go in rapid fire mode. And that's the good thing, right? See, these questions are always a little bit similar. So good that he asked this question, because now I have a case study to present to you a reason why you might want to switch your wrist alignment in the backswing. This is good stuff. So, Di Cristo, this answers your question probably, right? So I drop the kettlebell and I can either engage into a front hand, which might cause issues with the biceps. We've also seen that some of our clients have issues or have some form of tendonitis or some form of a golfer or a tennis elbow. And then if they drop the kettlebell with that front end, there's always pressure and then it hurts. So you drop and you turn in. Watch this. From the front. So if I turn my thumb backwards, we call this the backhand, my elbow, my biceps, my elbow bends, and therefore all the muscles of my upper arm can relax. Good stuff. This is case study stuff, right? Ha! Killing two birds with one stone. Last in the house. Hey everyone. Best way to add in kettlebells with barbells and cable work? Good question. If you are engaging into barbells and cable work, I am assuming, my man Jason, that you are rather into some bodybuilding or some strength stuff, right? More strength. Maybe cable work is good stuff. It's a good training modality to build muscle. So, therefore, if you choose this training tool, use it for the most bang of its buck. Do not use grinds, no deadlifts, no squats, no nothing, because I am assuming you already cover this with the barbell. Don't do no hypertrophy work because you already cover this with cable. So what would I do with the kettlebell? This is what I would do. I would use it for engine work to build your strength endurance with some swings, one hand, double hand, hand to hand, clean, and some snatch. In other words, the ballistics, and then maybe some farmers carries, right? And by the way, I'm gonna make a video about this soon. I just came up with another version of a carry, which I now call the lumberjack walk. Having a kettlebell up here like this, and then I am able to cover way more distance because I was talking about this pilot project that's coming up soon in the Kettlebell Dojo and by extension to our whole community. And I had to carry a kettlebell pretty far, and I grabbed a 24 like this, and I was able to walk a bigger distance if you want to carry your kettlebell to a place that's a little further away. But I'm digressing. Jason, ballistics. That's what you use a kettlebell for if you are already covering strength and hypertrophy with the barbell and cable work respectively. Can you get tendonitis from doing kettlebell workouts? Wow, so interesting, guys. You are asking questions that I'm already advancing, right? So I'm fast. Yes, some people have issues. Here it comes again. Man, Dottie, she just, she spawned a hell of a lot of good answers because for questions that came up afterwards. Yes, some folks have issues when they extend the arms and then drop, especially in the backswing phase of any of the ballistics. Some people do have issues. That's why this backhand may help. But other than this, full extension work, pressing and stuff might actually help. You always want to put your joints to full range of motion and put them to the test, put them under stress. And if you feel, we always go by the feel approach. You know your body best. So if you feel that an exercise is challenging you, but it doesn't hurt, keep going. And we've had experience with clients who said that they have issues with the shoulder, right? But they were able to press fairly solid, no issues. Then we had clients who had issues with the shoulder, no pressing. So we had to do cleans. Then we had clients issues with the forearm, elbow, shoulder a little bit. which cleans are out of the question, but presses work. So you always have to find a way. I think the worst thing that you can always do in any type of case is to stop moving. Oh, all right, your hair's on sweet. Eric Olsen, I did when I first started kettlebell sport training for my 10-minute snatch competition. I wasn't stretching much, so probably my fault. I would also say that these snatch competitions, these kettlebell sport competitions are putting your body to a test or to the limit where 99% of general fitness does not have to be in. And there's just something pops into my mind. I just read somewhere, somebody said that some coach said that when it comes to fitness, specificity is king. I could not disagree more with the statement. I could not disagree more vehemently. Sports, yes, it's all about specificity. Fitness, it's all about generality. A little bit of endurance, a little bit of strength, a little bit of mobility, flexibility. You want to cover everything because general fitness is where 99% of us live in. So that's why it's an interesting example, but you cannot compare an athlete's journey, as I say so often on this channel, to a normal person. So it might be that the tendonitis came up when you prep for a snatch competition because your body's just not used to that volume, and it doesn't even have to get used to it unless you want to compete, right? Do join the JoJo, everyone. It is amazing. Yes, it is, Andreas. Kettlebell Plus Ultimate Supreme. That's what's up. Tati in the house. Greetings to everybody. Yo. Will you ever use a weighted vest rolling through any of your workouts other than burpees because they're still evil? Scott, man, it's kind of like a hive mind mentality. I was thinking about purchasing a weighted vest, but then I realized it's probably not necessary because I'm already using my full body weight for dips, which are tough, pull-ups, which are tough, and push-ups are a little bit easier. But guess what I did today when I went outside to train? I did decline push-ups. So in that street workout park that is close to me, close to our gym, you have a decline bench. So you know what I did? I put my feet up on the incline and my hands down on the decline, so it looked like this with my head being down here, doing push-up from that position with added weights and that added incline or decline. Man, that was tough. That was tough. So my idea is, hey, if it gets too easy with a certain exercise, do more of it, do more reps. Or I'm using currently a body weight training schedule that is so powerful that I'm not going to change it anytime soon. And that is 10 push-ups, 10 body weight squats, 10 dips, and 10 pull-ups. And if you're saying, well, 10 body weight squats are probably not enough, that's where the kettlebell then comes in. How can I avoid my sweaty palms causing me to lose my grip? Olivier, chalk. Very simple answer, chalk. And you have two possibilities. You can either get liquid chalk or you can get powdered chalk. What's the difference? Let me just open that up real quick so that you know what I'm talking about. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. Just confirm, yeah. All right, so let me close that other stuff. So powdered chalk is, you can, blocks are very interesting. We consider buying blocks because it's just one block and then you just rub it and it doesn't, I think it doesn't cause that much of a mess. But powder is very simple. It's this, right? Powder chalk. So you grab it, you rub it in your hands. It causes a little bit of a mess. Liquid chalk, on the other hand, is you just spread it on your hands and then you rub it and then you have to wait a couple of seconds and then it dries and then you have white hands. You got almost like, looks like white gloves. Now here's my experience. Liquid chalk tears up my hands in seconds. It really tears up my hands because there's so much chalk on my hand. And I've gotten used to working with the Pro Kettlebell, which, by the way, because it has such an awesome texture finish on the handle, I almost don't use chalk anymore, even with very heavy weights and longer sets. That handle is perfect. Nikolai knows his stuff. And by the way, we have a 10% discount if you purchase a Pro Kettlebell and you use the code Lebe. The Pro Kettlebell is the kettlebell, the best on the market, hands down. Nobody comes close. And I have less issues with the powder. But at the end of the day, you have to find out which one works best. I believe it's a mixture of getting a solid kettlebell like the Pro Kettlebell, which has a great texture handle, which means you don't have a lot of issues then with grip. But we have certain clients who have always issues. They have so sweaty hands, it's crazy. Just one set and it's gone. So then you might want to consider buying chalk, and then it depends on how much of a mess can I make. If you're going to the gym, for example, I would always use liquid chalk and make sure you don't mess up the gym then. And always ask the gym if you're able to use chalk, because it's etiquette, unless you train at home, of course. All right? Your hair is on sweet. Gregory, I love that you covered affordable competition kettlebells before for Europe. May I suggest you do some videos about affordable competition kettlebells in the States? There's a lot of options, but some research needs to be done. Here's the thing. I believe, it's interesting. You guys are always getting ahead of me. I love this. It's that hive mind mentality that we have. Affordable competition kettlebells. I would say in the US, it's probably, Kettlebell Kings are expensive, but what you pay with Kettlebell Kings is the name. You pay the brand. Because these kettlebells are not that expensive. If I used to produce our own LS hollow core kettlebells, which I just had this conversation with Nikolai. They are the exact same mold than any other competition kettlebell, especially the perfect one with the smaller window that are normally used in competitions. That I think Rogue has them, CrossFit, that's a Swiss brand, they have it, Kettlebell Kings have it, so it's the same mold. So what you're actually paying is the brand or the name, just like with Nike in so many cases. So yet and still, I would say, I don't even know, CrossFit, for example, watch, I gotta open this up. I'm not affiliated with these guys and they are in Switzerland, but look at this. Let me see, where is that? Man, where is that? I can't even find it. What happened, man? Blog. Oh, something was wrong. So here we go. Check this out. This is the same mold that we use. The exact same mold. Watch. This is the exact same mold that we have. I guarantee you. It's a hollow core. They purchased it from China and they slapped their logo on it, just like Nikolai said in his marketing material. And these are solid kettlebells. And you see a 32 costs you in Switzerland 154 Swiss francs. That's probably $160 or $170, right? So, and the 8 kg is 56 Swiss francs. That's the same mold that Kettlebell Kings uses. But I don't know of an American supplier who's using the same mold like Kettlebell Kings do, and they sell it for this price. I don't know. That being said, investing into a solid kettlebell makes sense if you take your kettlebell journey seriously. And I say this with understanding for a lot of the budget that people have from that perspective. I do understand not everybody has the same budget. So go get yourself a cheaper Amazon competition kettlebell. Do it. Go ahead. But save some money for a pro kettlebell. The difference is just amazing. The hollow core, first of all, is completely different. It has a big hole. Then you have the contoured arm pockets where the kettlebell can rest. So no more ugly bumps in the bone right here. And the texture finish. The texture finish is next level. And since we've started, I just had a conversation a couple of days ago with Nikolai, and I told him, I am never going to use any other kettlebell in my life. These are non-plus ultra. If I compare these kettlebells with the regular ones, even with ours, the ones that we did, which I've stopped producing, they're out of order. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's just the difference is so major. It's so major. That's why saving for a solid kettlebell, which is the pro kettlebell, makes sense. How can I get better at keeping my elbows connected for the thrust in a double jerk? Just keeping them together. Andreas, I don't know if that's a good answer, but let me just explain. Maybe I can give you a feedback if I can demonstrate it to you. Andreas is referring to the jerk with 2 kettlebells. And I can explain something that might be interesting to you. So I'm going to use a little bit of a tool. But first, let's just check out what a jerk with 2 kettlebells is. Now, first of all, if we jerk with double kettlebells, it gets very technical. So we have to analyze the exercise. So if I jerk with double kettlebells, it's always, and remember this, folks, please, never forget this. Elbows close to the body. Imagine you are in a boxing match. If you are in a boxing match, you don't cover your body like this. You cover your body like this. And what is happening here? If you are connecting your elbow with your body and the fist pointing up, you are externally rotating the shoulder. If I do this. Why is that hard to do? Because in external rotation, first of all, it's limited. And second of all, these are just 2 very small muscles who externally rotate the shoulder. However, internal rotation, that's why a lot of people do this, because it feels more comfortable. Bigger muscles are involved in internal rotation. Plus, I can, really? See that? Way more range of motion. So we rather do stuff here. We don't do stuff here, but we have to learn. And so the good thing about the kettlebell is this gives you a really solid and strong rotator cuff. So if I have the elbow connected to the body like this, I keep my elbows close to the body, I stack the knees, I extend the knees, I push my hips forward, I go into a kyphotic position with my upper back. It looks like the back is rounding, but it's just the T-spine that's rounding. And now I can use the platform right here, which is the stomach and part of my hip, as the platform, the resting position for the weight. If I want to jerk the weight overhead with double kettlebells, there's a couple of phases. I'm going to go through them real quickly. This is phase number 1, the dip. Phase number 2, the bump. Phase number 3, the second dip with the top fixation. Phase number 4, the fixation that's finished. And phase number 5, back into the rack position. Now with double kettlebells, this looks like this. And if you get really, really advanced with the double jerk, you actually engage into quadruple extension, where you are exaggerating that flexion of the T-spine, and then you even use some of the spring effect from that hyperextension from the T-spine as you elevate the bells overhead. And my mentor, Steve Carter, my sensei, he mentioned this. He talked about it. He said, this is quadruple extension, which gives you lots of energy and an explosive power to catapult heavy weights overhead. Now, Andreas was mentioning that I'm having issues here. Well, the only thing that I can tell you is use 1 kettlebell and get used to this and find your rack position. If you always have this, no connection, you'll always have issues. You need to find that spot. And in my case, it's probably around here. So as you can see a little bit on my stomach, here. And this is contact. Boom. And I need this to catapult the weights overhead. Another thing that may help, but that's only if you're using fairly heavy weights and you have very good and powerful technique, is a weight belt from my man Arseny Zhernakov. The website is 32kg.pro. I repeat, 32kg.pro. And this is a kettlebell sport weight belt. So why do we have this belt? Because now I can relax even more. See, now I can relax, breathe, breathe. All right? Fairly advanced. Long answer to a very short question, but this just requires patience, time, technique. Angie in the business, yo! Philip, do you have any videos for moves with a hammer style kettlebell? Ah, I know which one. Let me share this so that everybody sees it. This one, right? This, my friend, I'm just watching the exercises that the dude is doing. It looks cool. I give him this. It looks really awesome. And they got 35 pounds. $16 kg. It looks like a gimmick to me, friends. If you are using this hammer to train and you get great benefits out of it and you enjoy it, by all means continue. If it makes you feel like Thor, which I assume it might give you that experience, I see that. He's got a 55. Where's the 55? They probably took it out of stock. 476 reviews. Yeah, but a couple of months ago, so I'm assuming they've stopped selling these. Or this is the EU page, or maybe, you know, the .com, the US page is probably stocked with heavier weights. But, you know, it looks like a gimmick to me, my friends. And with that price tag, you'd rather get yourself a heavier kettlebell. And I don't know the hammer that much. Maybe there are certain exercises where if you can explain it to me, I'm like, yo, that really makes sense. For example, with a mace, right? With a mace training makes sense. Club bells, I see the application and I see the difference compared to kettlebells, and I see its usage and how it can benefit you from an angle that the kettlebell is probably lagging to a certain extent. So it can give you, it's always cool to have a couple of tools in the toolbox, right, when it comes to general fitness. But at the end of the day, the Thor just looks like a cool thing, but it's just like the circus getup, right? Looks cool, but it doesn't beat the basics. So, you know, that's why I don't have videos with it. And even if I would enjoy it, right? This is something that you have to understand, my friends. My expertise, or the expertise that we've built, is in the sphere of kettlebells. A lot of people have asked, well, can't you do something on club bells, on maces, on this and that? But I want to focus on kettlebells. What I now use a little bit more is the mace, but still, why do I use the mace? I use it for backswing, front swing. Backswing most of the time only, but I don't feel comfortable teaching it. That's why I'm not making videos about it. I'm a little bit more self-aware than I was a couple of years ago. And I know my limitations. And clubs are cool too, but yeah, I just stick with the kettlebell. And there's a lot of cool channels who talk about mace. Mace, for example, my main man, the Flowing Dutchman, you better go check him out. I heard that Mark Wildman has good stuff about club bells, so this is not my thing. And what I also have to say is I'm digging more and more body weights. But when it comes to body weight, I don't do the typical calisthenics that, you know, that crazy stuff with muscle ups and stuff. I just push-ups, squats, dips, pull-ups, there you go. With kettlebells, it's a little bit similar. It's the most bang for your buck stuff that I use. Wait, where are you? Ryan, hey Gregory, Grüße aus Nürnberg, Bayern. Liebe Grüße zurück. Just out of curiosity, how did you get into kettlebells? And also, how would you combine kettlebells and barbells to build muscle? So I got into kettlebells thanks to the pandemic. The pandemic. The pandemic. And it forced us to, it forced gyms to shut down. And just a couple of months earlier, in June 2019, we got certified by my main man, by my sensei, Steve Cotter. And we didn't take the kettlebell that serious, even though I had plans. But then 2020 forced us to take kettlebell seriously because it was the only type of tool that we could use for people to train at home. That's what we did. We already started incorporating kettlebells after Steve Cotter, but then we took it up a notch when the pandemic hit, which all of the world took kettlebells seriously. And then, you know, the kettlebells disappeared a little bit. And I'm here to make this thing as popular as possible. This is my main mission. And then, you know, we put in thousands and thousands of reps. And in the pandemic, many things happened that laid the foundation of who we are and what we do today. This is crazy. Yeah, this is how I got into kettlebells. And I always heard about Steve Cotter, the OG, my sensei, and I always felt a little bit out of touch when it comes to Pavel stuff. This was not down my alley. This was too much that tough guy stuff, that military stuff. No disrespect. I mean, I respect everybody and everyone who has a particular vocation and follows a particular route and then develops a particular style. But that tough guy approach just didn't vibe with me. Whereas Steve Cotter was way more, from the martial arts perspective, way more open. He's kind of like the Bruce Lee of kettlebells, and that's what really, really, really got me into it. And how would I combine, second question, how would I combine kettlebells and barbells to build muscle? I would focus, when it comes to building muscle, I would focus on the grinds the most. So grinds are presses, squats, carries, rows, heavy weights, 8 to 10 reps, 3 sets, always go heavy, maybe a couple of intensity sets where you really burn out the muscle until you can't move anymore. And this is where I would use the kettlebell. And with barbells, I would use the barbell to up my maximum strength output so I can then skill transfer that additional strength into my hypertrophy stuff so I can crank out a couple of more reps and then stimulate my muscles a little bit more in order for them to grow. So this will be my journey, or my, man, I was looking for that word, for my trajectory. Yeah, the Spartan princess entered the room. That's what's up. Angie's the Spartan princess. Jordan the OK question. Is it a good idea to do 3 reps of 5 double clean, press, and front squat nearly every day with 16 kg kettlebells if I want to work on my way up to playing with the 22 kg or 50 pound bells? I think that's a very solid approach. Yeah. Three sets of 5 double clean, double press, and front squat nearly every day with 60. Maybe nearly every day, Jordan, you want to be a little bit careful because you probably need a little bit more recuperation time and rest in between. Because think about this. Every time you get started, you stimulate the muscle and you train, a breakdown of tissue happens. So the training sets the stimulus. The growth happens in the rest periods. Do not forget this. So nearly every day is something that I would be a little bit careful with, especially depending on your level, fitness level. But other than this, I like the approach because 3 sets of 5, we all know that sits in between hypertrophy and max strength. And this would be a good way to lead you up to the 20 kg or to the next weight that is in store. Jason, is it okay when doing that overhead snatch, instead of using a swing and do it instead of more like a rowing up? Hope you understand. Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. So let me switch the camera and show you what this might look like. I think you are talking about this exercise. We call it, my brother Eric does kettlebells. He calls it the dead snatch. I call it a power snatch because that power description comes from the weightlifting guys, where if they power clean it up, they catch it in the rack position standing. And normally they squat it down and stand up. So this is the normal or the regular clean, and the power clean is more it requires more power. And so with the snatch, that's why I call it the power snatch. But the dead snatch can also be the same is the same exercise. So I think you mean this, right? Do it. This is tough. And I would say it's even a little bit tougher from the strength approach and the power approach, because snatching that weight, that's where it comes from, the dead snatch, when they describe it like this, is harder on your strength system or on your power system because it got to explode up. Whereas with a backswing, you have the momentum aspect of it. So go ahead and do it. The only issue that I have, and by the way, you always have to then half snatch it down, right? So I would always recommend, if you power snatch it, do not, because that's kind of like, it breaks the kinetic chain. So up, down, stop. That's how I would do it. So the trick or the issue is the hand insertion. The hand insertion gets very tricky. Most people then have the kettlebell in the top fixation like this. Like this, right? Because it's harder from the bottom or from the floor to snatch it up and have it in that position. It requires a little bit more skill. You have to move very fast. But the heavier the weight gets, the more challenging it gets. I always experience this. If I power snatch or dead snatch, my working weights, which are 24s and 28s respectively. But your question, go ahead and do it. Do it. The snatch is a powerful exercise, and any variation makes sense, or the variations that I know of. This is great, the snatch. Thank you. I'm currently doing a summer body block to practice cleans and snatch. Geraldine, awesome. Go ahead. What's the best way to recover from triceps, from tendonitis? Oh man, you got to ask a physician or a therapist. I don't know. It's, with one of our clients, he has a frozen shoulder. So that might be some muscle, some ligaments, some tendons, something's just messed up. And his doc told him, just wait. All right, keep moving. Move according to what your body allows you to move, or move according to your capabilities, to your ability. Do not overdo it. And it maybe goes away or it doesn't. So I mean, Athlete Next sometimes seems to have all the answers, so maybe you got to ask him or check out his videos. But other than this, I would probably go to a qualified therapist or physician and ask him or her if they can help you and give you some feedback on how to recover from it. As a 12-month newbie, my question is, when would be best to introduce double kettlebells? Thanks from the UK. Love your tutorials. Geraldine. It's a good question. We always say double kettlebells are a whole new world, as Aladdin would put it. So be very careful. Other than this, if you already have doubles at home and you feel solid with the singles, this is probably the right answer. Yeah, that's the right answer that I always give. And that is, if you feel solid with singles, and I mean solid from a standpoint where you have good kettlebell confidence. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not confident, 10 being expertly confident, it should sit between 7 and 8. If that's the case, you are most definitely cleared to grab double kettlebells. At the same time, you're also cleared to grab double kettlebells for deadlifts from the get-go or farmer's carries from the get-go. The only thing that might be a little bit challenging is the ballistics, the clean, the double half snatch, woof, and double swing. That's very, very tough. Or clean and jerk, the long cycle, or jerk and double press, double squat. These are technical, but especially the double squat requires a lot of strength. So give it a shot, right? If you feel confident, give it a shot. If you're still shy away, you're like, let me get a little bit more confident and stronger with my singles, then go ahead and do it. Grüezi, Gregory, Simon here from Basel. Simon, what's up? Liebe Grüße nach Basel. I'm 52, just started kettlebells 2 weeks ago following your videos since. Great work, appreciate it. My question, with which weight should I start training? Simon, if you just got started and you're a man, yeah, you're a man, start with a 12 kg. It's always a great recommendation. The 12 kg gives you good feedback for the lower body, very tough feedback for the upper body, but it's an all-around solid weight for men to get started. And even if you feel very, very confident with the lower body, because you will feel very confident very fast if you understand how to move the lower body and how to swing weights and stuff, then still stick with it, because there's still stuff that you can learn with a lighter weight, especially when you move overhead, right? So 12 kg is the starting weight. Ryan, pretty much answered my question now, since it was the same as Jason's. Thanks, bro. Danke für deine tollen Videos. Ryan, liebe Grüße. And is it wise to change weights with different exercises? If you have different weights, of course. We sometimes do it with our clients where we have workouts where we change weights, right? So we say, all right, let's do a heavy swing, 1 set of 10, with a 28 kg. For example, with our client currently that we had just before I got started with the stream, we did a swing pyramid. So 20, 24, 28 for 1 set of 10. And because she was doing so well, we grabbed the 32, which was a big challenge. So after rep number 6, it broke down a little bit, but she was still able to finish the lift. But with the clean and press, we were challenging her with a 60. So if you have different weights, go ahead and do it. It might make sense. What I love about kettlebells is that connective flow, that connecting the kinetic chain throughout every movement and not stopping. This unbrokenness. This is what I love. This is so unique to kettlebells. The unbrokenness, where you have 1 set of swings, 1-arm swings, then 1 set of cleans, 10 reps, then 1 set of clean and press and 1 set of snatch, or 1 minute swing, 1 minute clean and press per side, 1 minute snatch per side. Not stopping, not putting the kettlebell down. This is what I believe is such an awesome way to train with kettlebells. But of course, you can always switch weights if you want to. Dimitri, I have a question. What in your opinion are the 3 best exercises which will be the base of a year-long training program? Kettlebells, swing, press, squat. I hope that answers your question. I've Studio. Gregory, how old are you and when did you start training with kettlebells? Thanks. Andri from Vienna. How old am I? Man, let me think. Last time I checked, I was somewhere around 25. I'm 1984. I was born in 1984. That awesome book from George Orwell. 1984. So that makes me a 40-year-old man. And I celebrated my birthday in May. Yeah, so it makes me 40. But I do everything I can to keep my body fit, strong, as much as I can. I fell in love with weight training and lifting in 20. When I was in 2009. So that's 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, I fell in love with weights and fitness and training, and I've never stopped since. So this is my 15th consecutive year of training. And kettlebells, like I mentioned, 2019 was my starting year. 2020 was balls to the walls, and then, putting in thousands and thousands of reps, which was a shortcut to becoming an expert in a very short amount of time. As they say, you got to spend 1,000 hours with a tool. I say spend all your life with a tool that makes you an expert. But of course, I finally understand some of the nook and crannies that are revolving around kettlebells. I've talked to a lot of great folks on my podcast when it comes to kettlebells. And yeah, I love this tool. I fell in love with it. I know its powers. I know its limitations. And I think it is one of the best tools for folks over 40 because it touches all bases of physical qualities all at once. I hope that answers your question, brother. Clean and press the like and subscribe button. That's what's up. Olivia, I use chalk, but it's not enough. I sweat too much. I read that using wristbands helps. What do you think? Wristbands? Wristbands can help you if, I see. Lots of the people wear wristbands because they have issues with the clean. They don't want to bang up their forearms. But I see, maybe that's the issue, right? Maybe you clean, but then it's not the hands anymore, it's the arms or the forearms. If you have sweaty forearms and you clean the kettlebell and then it starts shifting around your forearm, maybe that's an issue, then wristbands can help, yes. I see that point. Or you really want to chalk your hands and deep like that, which I have rarely seen somebody do. But yeah, you probably have that similar issue that some of our clients have, and that is they chalk their hands, they get started, and your sweat eats chalk for breakfast. If that's the case, you have to re-chalk many times, often, and at the same time make sure you do not kill your palm skin so that it turns into hamburger meat. Ski, Gregory, long time I haven't seen you. Hope you're good. I'm doing fine, brother. Thank you so much. Oscar. Any advice on how to improve explosive rotational power for Thai boxing? Anything that resembles a punch, core-wise? One-arm swings. All right? One-arm swings and cleans. Because rotational power, boom, right, from the hips, it's hip work, right? So at the end of the day, even though you're rotating, you're using lots of the strength and power from the glutes. So swings, heavy swings. I would do explosive, some hard style swings, then cleans while I would rotate. So let me show you this. This is what I would actually do. Should ask me. So one arm swings where you deliberately do not move your hips, where you really want to stay right for that hip snapping. That's why a lot of martial artists love these exercises. Then I would clean them as well, but here's where I would do a little bit of a difference, and that is I would use my, see? It's a very tricky type of a clean. It's not the normal one. It's that type of clean that you've seen Ivan Denisov do, or snatch, the giant, right? The kettlebell sport giant and world champion. And that is, you drop the kettlebell and then you use your whole body weight. You don't hinge as much, but you use your body. And what that does is you drop it, it shifts your whole body weight backwards, you shift it forwards, and then it's whoom, 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 right? And there may be a couple of windmills where I have a little bit of rotational strength, but at the end of the day, here's what I believe. If you're looking for an exercise that resembles a punch with that rotation in it, a sport-specific exercise, according to ex-Soviet training research philosophy, is Get yourself, most of us don't have access to it, but this would be, if we would have unlimited funds, this is what I would do. Get yourself a biomechanist who really studies this movement, right? Who studies what muscles are involved, every type of muscle is involved in that movement. Hip rotation with the arm, every type of muscle. Then I would have a weight lifting coach or a strength coach understand the joint actions based upon the analysis of the biomechanist, and then with the biomechanist, I would devise an exercise that closely resembles this motion so that you can transfer the strength and the mobility and the skill that you're building with the sport-specific exercise into your sport. Since many of us do not have access to this, I would say, all right, let's just do some GPP, lots of swings, lots of hip work. This is one thing that you can strengthen. And squats, right? Squats, deadlifts, swings, that's what I would do, right? Tommy, where are you at? Tommy Nick Shia Song Kam. What do you think about kettlebell deadlift off of a raised platform so you can get? That's a cool idea. You don't get full range of motion, you get additional range of motion, right? And I don't mean to correct it just to be a jackass or an idiot, right? Or to be a wise guy. The reason why I say this is if you do a deadlift from an elevated platform, you increase or you add additional range to the maximal range of motion that you already have. Now, that might be powerful and good for certain people, and it might be detrimental for other people, because if you don't already have good range of motion, which means you might have some breaks on the muscles, then additional rate of motion added on top of the full range might cause issues. PRISP competition kettlebell 20 kg is what I'm looking at. PRISP, P-R-SIP, what? P-R-SIP? Let me see. PRISP, I see that. I see. It's a Canadian. I don't recommend these. That's a good point. I do not recommend these. I hate these. They are coined competition kettlebells, but they're not. They have a different mold. See that mold? See that? That's the same. That's the same crap. No. They're using a slightly different mold, which I do not consider a solid, and it's only $65. I see that. It's still a good option, right? But no. It has a different handle. It has steel handle, which will kill your palm skin. And it has a bigger window, which will feel completely different with the rack and the clean and the jerk and everything. See? And that's typical. That's so typical, friends. So typical. They use folks who do not understand how to rack and press kettlebells. That's so annoying. And that's just not the way you would do this, right? But at the end of the day, it's not a bad kettlebell. If that's the only one that you can afford, go ahead and grab it. But no. Just that you see the difference. See that handle? See that? See the difference? Smaller window, better texture on the handle, better for the hand insertion. The kettlebell sits nicer. This is too big of a handle. Nope. It's good that you're mentioning these. Xena Queen, I saw your videos about quitting the gym. I've been training at home with 12, 14, and 16 for several years now. Wow. What do you think Is it worth joining the gym with more kettlebells or just buy extra kettlebells? Well, it depends. If you enjoy going to the gym, go to the gym. If you enjoy the atmosphere, if you want to be there and maybe there's a couple of folks and you want to train with them, and if you like the social aspect of going to a gym, do it. If you don't like all of this, you don't want to sit in traffic, you don't want to wait, you don't want no waiting times, you don't want to trip over a tripod from the next TikTok influencer and then end up in a viral video because you have a discussion with these folks, right? Don't. Then buy yourself an extra set of kettlebells. But at the end of the day, you know, you can get results with both. But I would say, why then pay for an additional gym membership to go to the gym to then use extra heavier kettlebells if you can just buy yourself the heavy kettlebell, right? One Swan, can you use and progress with the kettlebell when you have a carpal tunnel? I tend to do some warm-ups and stretching before any weighted workout. Yes, the carpal tunnel, you had a surgery, I'm assuming? Go ahead and try it. We always say the same thing. We have people with all sorts of issues in this place. Most of them are over 50 currently. The average age is 49, so it's close to 50. So if you have issues, any type of issues, try it and see how it works. Most of the time, the ballistic exercises feel so great for the body because they take away the shock effect on the joints and they are a little bit less intense, even though, you know, strengthening your joints means using them and putting stress on them. But some people have, I like the way how Pavel coins it, some people have so high mileage on their bodies and they're so banged up that the kettlebell is a little bit softer on the joints and you can still get your workout on and still can strengthen your joints. So whatever issue you have, try the kettlebell, see what exercise fit, see what doesn't. If you experience pain in certain areas, you don't use that exercise, you divert with another, and that's the way to go. Charles, have you ever trained people with a goal in a specific sport? How do you adapt for, let's say, your racket sports compared to football, compared to golf? No, I haven't. We do not specialize in training athletes, and I believe there's not a lot of great trainers in the world today who specialize in training athletes per se. I've had conversations with Dr. Michael Yesses. I read the book from Dr. Yuri Verkhoshansky. I've had a great discussion with Bud Charniga, who's a weightlifting scientist, and all these folks tend to have not a very good opinion about strength coaches in general, which, you know, it's a big world out there. So there are some great coaches, of course. But according to them, which these guys have a lot of experience, and by the way, Dr. Michael Yesses, I think he passed away a couple of months ago, so rest in peace to Dr. Michael Yesses. I was fortunate enough to have a podcast conversation with this legend. When it comes to sports, just like I explained it to you, I think that approach makes the most sense. You use that competitive training system that the Soviets used and that they then transported and cross-pollinated into the whole world when the Soviet Union broke down. And I don't care about politics. This has nothing to do with politics. Politics has everything to do with stuff that makes sense. And what they say is we have phase number one, which is the GPP phase, where you want to bring your engine up so that you can handle the sport and handle the specific exercises, which then leads into SPP. This is the second part of your competition prep, which is the SPP phase where you do specific exercises for your specific physical preparedness. And then you have the competitive phase where you adapt to the competitive environment. And then you have the post-competitive phase. And the SPP phase is, I think, where most people mess up, or to a certain extent where you have, you know, trainers walking around selling you programs acting like this is the golden goose of exercises that will give you more punch and power or blah, 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 blah. When in reality, here's what I learned. If you want to use a sport-specific exercise in the SPP phase, which, by the way, you then upgrade your specific sport that you're doing, for example, if it's boxing or if it's cricket or football or whatever, then you only do, most of the time you do your sport, and the sport-specific exercises that you do in the gym or in the weight room, they have to closely resemble the sports action that you have to do and that you have to exercise and that you have to demonstrate on the field. So this goes completely against the nature of general fitness. That's why it's the SPP phase, right? And I think most people mess up in that regard. At least that's what I heard from very accredited and legendary folks in that area. Any good kettlebell exercises for shoulder impingement? Cleans. And if the press hurts, don't do it. If it doesn't hurt, do it. Cleans, swings to loosen up the arm, cleans and swings. And snatch if it doesn't hurt. Ballistics in general. David, you and Angie are the best. I love doing the follow-along workouts and the membership with you both. Covering from a shoulder bicep tendonitis, so I've been a bit quiet lately, but looking forward to getting back into the routine. Go ahead. Apollo kettlebells are still out of stock. Any updates? Yes, I talked to Nikolai. The issue is he's still working with these 2 new foundries and that new fulfillment center, and they got to get things up to speed. It's not easy to scale because so many people want the Pro kettlebell. And the reason why he got a huge order in, and he ordered like 200, he said 200 units per weight he ordered. This is massive. And he said the issue is he doesn't put any kettlebells in stock because he wants to fulfill the pre-orders first. Because, and I think I understand his perspective. Imagine you pre-ordered kettlebells 1.5 months ago, and then you go in the shop and you see it's in stock. You're like, bro, why didn't I get my kettlebell then, right? So he says he keeps it continually out of stock until all pre-orders are fulfilled. At the same time, he's experiencing growing pains because of the demand and the scaling, but there should be a solution down in sight down the line where kettlebells are supposed to be in stock. It's not something that he's intentionally keeping out of stock just to boost demand or anything. It's growing pains. Charlene, my question is, what brand chalk do you use? I'm using Halo liquid chalk and fine chalk, but after 2 minutes of swings, it's all sweated off, and I feel the kettlebells for my grip. Thanks. I don't have a particular brand that I use. I heard that certain brands are really good at chalk, so you might have to do some digging. I'm not a very well-versed expert on chalk, but I can tell you that from experience, just what I've shared a couple of minutes ago, is lots of people have issues with sweat. And then you can put on as much chalk as you want. Your sweat eats chalk for breakfast. At the same time, do some research. There might be some high-quality chalk, which I'm assuming is priced a little bit more than the regular ones. So go ahead and try that out. Check the reviews, and if it helps, go ahead. Welcome to the Chalk Talk. Have you ever hurt yourself with an exercise? In general, yes. With the typical shoulder press in the gym, here's where I got some issue with the shoulder, and not severely, but I really had issues, and I was going heavy all the time. I remember, but no. The only thing that I've ever experienced was some, not back pain, but some intense pulling in the back, even though it was deadlifting heavy, squatting heavy, bench pressing heavy, but I felt that tight lower back, which completely was eradicated and gone after starting with kettlebells. This is so massive because it trains the whole posterior chain, and it stretches and strengthens at the same time. It's so awesome. Other than this, sometimes I have maybe some, a little bit of a issue that I had when I started grabbing kettlebells or pulling. I felt a little bit some tension here, which might be some inflammation, but it's almost gone now. I know I listen to my body, then I train around these issues, and then it gets better. Other than this, maybe some shoulder stuff, but nothing big. And never one exercise that I did where I severely hurt myself, because I understand the load capacity model, which means I am not using a load or a weight that my body, which equals capacity, cannot handle. And I am very aware of my skill level, my strength level, and I do not force my body into always thinking. And I got down that route a little bit because I went back into 1 rep max training where I thought, all right, I got to add a little bit more weight on the bench now, a little bit more weight on the squat. And then I reverted back. I was like, who cares? I got 100 kg on the back squat, 1 rep. I'm very happy. I got the 90 kg on the bench. I'm very happy. So why should I even go heavier? Why? I'm happy with where I am. I know my body's limitations. I want to touch all the bases of physical qualities, and I don't go down that rabbit hole where I think I want to be the strongest, the biggest, the baddest. Because there's always somebody who's stronger, And if you think you want to specialize in one particular area, it might be that you miss out on all these other areas, which might make sense if you are doing a sport and you want to compete and you want to be the best. But for most of us, it doesn't make sense. We need a well-rounded base, which means a solid and good GPP. Oh, Louis, I upgraded to pro kettlebells, but only singles. I will be using the magnet weight to get two weight closest enough to use as doubles and switch sides to alternate weights. Yes, we're getting these weight stacks as well. The little 2 kg increments, they're awesome. We're getting them as well. Then, let's assume that you have two different styles of training. I went from jerk and clean to clean and jerk. Thanks, Gregory. I'll bet. Which one is better? First one being 20 cleans, 20 snatch, and 20 swing. Break. And make this as 3 sets. Second style is 10 swing, 10 clean, and 10 snatch with 6 sets. Depends on your goal. Then. I can't answer the question because it depends on your goal. Once one, thank you so much. Your answer makes so much sense. I did my first session yesterday. My wrist felt fine. Great. Doing push-ups is what strains my wrist. So I'll just stick to the kettlebell. Oh, once more. Let me show you something. Let me show you something about the push-up. I think this can help you. Watch this. Because here's the key. A lot of people have issues with the bodyweight exercises. Yeah. So let me show you this. This is crucial. Watch this. I think that can help you. Let me turn the camera down, zoom in. So watch. I give you two options, two ways to maybe improve your push-up. Number one, lots of people do push-ups like this. Watch. See that? Where elbows go out. This is intensive and ugly, awkward strain on the wrist and on the shoulder. If I push up like this, see? Watch from the sides. You see? I'm exaggerating, of course. But a lot of people do push-ups like this. Watch how I do them. See? Elbow closer to the body. Watch from the front. See? Elbows close to the body. You don't have to go all in because then it would be almost, the triceps gets more work then. But I'm not here, I'm not all in, I'm natural. That's a natural position. Second, if you feel like this is giving you a hard time just to push up in general, then try this. Elevate it on either dumbbells or kettlebells where you don't have that pressure on your wrist because you can keep it fairly in a natural position. It's actually, even for me, and I do not have issues with my wrist, the most comfortable way to do push-ups. Great questions, man. Very great, very good questions. I always enjoy this. So let's finish this. Excalibur. I've been using kettlebells for about 3 years now. Use the Amazon Basic Cast Iron because they're cheap. No, they're not the best, but they have worked for me so far. What do you think? I think you give yourself the answer, brother, and that is, it has worked for you, so never change your winning horse. And this comes from the bottom of my heart. Do I recommend the Pro Kettlebell because it's so awesome? Yes. I think it's the best kettlebell on planet Earth. Do I understand that certain people might not have the ability to afford the financial strength to afford this type of kettlebell? I most definitely understand that. If you're not financially strong, but you still want to train with kettlebells, and maybe your friend gave you a couple of kettlebells, or you found one on a market, or you got it from Amazon, just like you did. And yes, it's not the best ones, but you still get benefits out of it, and it keeps you moving. It builds your strength, it builds your cardiovascular system. Because at the end of the day, it's a bell, right? In the handle. So you get the same amount, especially with the ballistics, you probably get a similar feeling. I think the Pro Kettlebell with the hollow core gives you an even improved feeling with the flow feeling with ballistics, but let's put that to the side. You're working out. So this means, brother, you're doing 95% more than almost everybody on planet Earth. Because I think every 1 out of 10 people, or 1 out of 5. Dan John said 1 out of 20 people. I read something 1 out of 5. Who cares? Just not a lot of people train. So if you do it and you got yourself a kettlebell, and it's not the one that I recommend, but it's the one you have that works and the one that gives you a lot of benefit, you have won the game, sir. You have won the game. So continue. When I watch you do an exercise like a press, you often lean back. What is the benefit and what are the cues to do it safely without compromising your lower back? Wall push-ups. All right, before I can try it out with dumbbells. Go ahead, one swan. Yeah, do that. That's TM. This is your last question that I'm going to cover. I'll be there in a second. Johnny P, what's the best exercise to benefit cyclists? Kettlebells in general. Swings, cleans, press, snatch, carries, squats, lunges, all that typical kettlebell stuff, especially the way we train according to strength endurance. Do some of our follow-along workouts that we have for free on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. I think it'll give you some solid gains for your cycling game. So that DTM, the lean back. All right, let's cover this. That's the last one. And I'm going to do a strip tease because I want to show you what it really means. And you need to see my full body in order for it to understand. I always get this question. No, it's not that I get the question, yes. But here's what I get too. A lot of people do not understand, and they always say, oh, the weight is too heavy. Oh, you're compromising lower back. Oh, you're having injury down the line. And let me tell you, my friends, it is a technique. And you have to understand how that technique works. And I explained it already a little bit. So watch this, friends. This is a masterclass on the rack position. First of all, we have to understand the rack position. What is the rack position? The rack position is the kettlebell, and I do it with imaginary kettlebells. I have no kettlebells are sitting there. I want to do it with an imaginary kettlebell so you can understand it. Rack position is this. All right? Elbows connecting with the body, or in my case with the stomach hip area. My knees are locked. I push my hips forward. A lot of kettlebell sport guys say that you're supposed to have your hips loose. I don't have them loose because I want to push. I have to push inside that rack position. Now, if you have very long arms, you might be able to connect with that rack position easier. Especially the best combination is long arms and a short torso, and you're able to do it like this and you're good. If you have short arms and a long torso, you have lost. Then it's just hard. It's hard or almost impossible. But let's get back to it. Rack position. All right. So what happens from a biomechanical perspective? If I stand like this, I'm standing straight, right? So what happens if I do this? Look at my hips. They don't do anything. I'm just rounding the back to make way for the weight to have it rest in my center of mass. My center of mass is here. So if I stand like this, then the weight's always in front of me and it's pulling me down, so the weight rests on my muscles. If I rest the kettlebell like this in the rack position, the weight rests on my skeleton or on my frame, which leads to more biomechanical efficiency because I don't burn out my weakest link in the chain, which in this case is my shoulder. Now you're mentioning the press. So if I have the kettlebell up here, and now you should be able to see what that really means. See that? You see how the kettlebell sits on my frame. Now, if I have a weight, it looks exaggerated, but it's not. I'm just, see, it's all good. I'm bending. I even exaggerate the bend if I have double kettlebells. There is no issue with my lower back whatsoever because the weight pulls down in front of me. It pulls down in front of my hips. It pulls down in front of my knees, and it's approximately sits according on my center of mass. This is a rack position. You can also refer to it as the rest position. I can rack. Now let's talk about the press. Why do I lean back? Because I want the kettlebell to stay in my center of mass. If I drop it back down, again, I move away. I bring my upper body in a position to keep that medial line intact. First of all, I want the kettlebell to stay in that medial line, plus I want the kettlebell to stay in that center of mass. If I press like this, can you see how the kettlebell always leaves my center of mass? I don't want that. It's not necessary. I think it's wasted effort. And this is also the way to understand how to push press it. Watch. And now, it is the final game, is how to jerk it. Right? So, the key, friends, is to understand how to bring the elbows close to the body, how to keep your body in that position. This requires some kinesthetic literacy to keep your body in that position, to press the weight up in a straight line. And if you do not understand this technique, you always say, well, that looks too heavy, but oh, you hurt yourself. No, it is a technique. Do I recommend this for people to learn once they get started with a kettlebell? No, because this is advanced stuff. So can beginners press like this? Yes, they can, but we tell them press up in a straight line and keep the kettlebell close to my body. And here's what my sensei Steve Cotter said. Imagine you have some paint right here at your thumb, and every time you press the bell up, you want to paint your nose. Such a great cue. And Angel reiterated the cue a couple of times. That's why the cue still is in my head, because I didn't even hear Steve say this. So it's this, right? Why is Steve saying this? Because he's telling you, guys, keep that bell close. Stay in that center of mass. Kettlebells are built differently. The center of mass is different. The weight disposition is different. Therefore, we train different with it. All right? I hope that makes sense. It's so hot in here. So that is it, my friends. All right. My friends, thank you so much for joining. I hope that answers your question. I like your blue shorts. Looks like from the Soviet Union, they wear the same sport. Oh, yeah. I like these shorts because when I swing and move, no fabric comes between my legs, which means there's no stretching, nothing going on. My legs are free to move. And I will never wear leggings. You know, people tell me, you got to wear these leggings, and then your legs can move freely. No, I'm not going to do this. Gregory, I'm trying to learn the Russian pendulum style. And I'm wondering if you can really do heavy swings with this technique. Of course you can. Of course you can. Let's put it like this. You can use heavy weights to do that Russian pendulum. But if you want to do these hard style, high tension swings, no. The Russian pendulum is not suited for this. That sums it up, my friends. Thank you so much for joining. We have this powerful sale going. It's at 91% off. You get 91% off. It's an exclusive one-time offer where you can get access to all of our kettlebell courses, tutorials, skill lessons, everything that you've been looking for to bring your kettlebell game to the next level. Plus, it has over hundreds of follow-along workouts, so you don't have to think. You just press play. You do it in the follow-along format. It's normally in a monthly membership, just like Netflix, but once a month we offer this once a month possibility to get it for a one-time payment. So you get access to the kettlebell library with all the kettlebell courses, skill lessons, and tutorials. It's called Kettlebell Plus. You might have seen this if you've seen a couple of videos that we do. And then you have access to the skill lessons, everything that you need. Plus, you get access to the app that you can download, so you don't need a Mac, no browser. or a desktop or a laptop. Plus, you get access to the Kettlebell Dojo. The Kettlebell Dojo is the worldwide community of kettlebell fans that gather because we love kettlebells. And you see the link in the description right now. And I thank you so much for joining, friends. And I see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
This is for you, friends. If you're tired of your reflection in the mirror, you're feeling weak, and you want to increase your quality of life. You want to become stronger, enjoy more time with your family, and increase your performance at work. You've tried to fit and lost your mojo, the strength, the body, the confidence you had in your 20s, and you've been struggling for years to get it back. You want to master the kettlebell, you want to embrace change, and you're willing to follow instructions. You've joined the gym, but life gets in the way of going. And you've tried countless diets, only to crash and burn after a couple of weeks. And you've tried to go for a run. And now the next day you wake up with pains, with aches, and you realize, wow, is this fitness thing really for me? Because if it hurts that bad, nah, I'm not going down that route. It is for you if you're over 40 and your health is becoming increasingly more important to you. It is for you if you're over 40 already struggling with pain and you want to either reduce or eliminate that pain. You've lost the motivation after 2 weeks at the gym. You experience a constant up and down with your weight. It's fluctuations that you want to combat. You want to stay consistent now. You're looking for a constant. You want to reach your ideal weight and refuse to accept that life is over after 40. A lot of people believe this. You maybe even considered going under the knife. This is my last stop. You've been to the physiotherapist so often and your pain has not improved. I think you're going to love this. And if you act fast, you get a major advantage. If you jump into this right now, listen up. I'm introducing Kettlebell Ultimate. Kettlebell Ultimate offers you over 100 follow-along workouts designed to build muscle, torch fat, boost your cardiovascular health, alleviate pain, and revive the mojo from your 20s. You get access to over 18 specialized programs tailored to your unique fitness objectives, ensuring steady progress and lasting results. You get a special invite to the #1 kettlebell community for unwavering support, encouragement, and accountability on your fitness journey. And currently we have a competition in that community going. So what's inside? Over 18 online courses that equals over 100 follow-along workouts, skill lessons, and tutorials. It's the perfect guide to help you decide which course is the best to get started. It's also included because there's lots of material. You get complete mastery over the swing, the clean and press, the snatch, and over 20 most bang for your buck exercises. And now you're wondering, Gregory, why is it not over 100 exercises? Because you don't need them. We do 20 exercises on a regular basis throughout the whole year, not more. Why? Because it's most bang for your buck. If I give you a shortcut to success, why then go around? Well, you can go around and play on your own if you have achieved that level of skill. But if you're just learning, you need the basics, and the basics are enough. So what you're getting out of Kettlebell Ultimate is the following. #1, the 6-week Kettlebell Challenge. It's a strategic system to get in shape with easy to understand nutrition coaching, over 73 lessons, 16 hours of video content, a value of $99. Fan favorites. The most liked follow-alongs from over 8 years on YouTube. Hundreds of thousands of people like these workouts that we have in that course. 57 lessons, 14 hours video content, value $147. The Hybrid Style Masterclass, this is a complete skill guide, a reference course that you can use to learn everything you need about kettlebells. 72 lessons, 11.5 hours of video content, value over $247. 90 gains of kettlebells, the best kettlebell course to build functional muscle. Lots of people love this, especially men over 40. 53 lessons, 22 hours of video content, value $147. And by the way, these are not just numbers that I came up with. These are numbers that you see on our academy. When you purchase these courses on their own, this is what they cost. 90 days of kettlebells, the best kettlebell program for you to burn belly fat. $147. The Iron Flow, this is unique. You get every Monday a new workout. We call them workout of the week. Over 23 hours of video content, and the value is close to $1,000 because this is indefinite. We'll never stop uploading new workouts to the Iron Flow. Plus, you get access to Never Rest, the ladders workout, Safe by the Bell, perfectly to bulletproof your core. 30 days of kettlebells. That's a 30-day kettlebell challenge. Bolt, a great course to combine kettlebells with dumbbells. Crossbells, where we have used CrossFit workouts and applied them to kettlebells. The Strengths and Swings series and kettlebell challenges. It's massive. Over $1,400 of value that I give you right now. And let me add some powerful bonuses on top. Check this out. Number one, you get access to the IKFF seminar with Steve Carter. He's my sensei. That's a 3.5-hour seminar that I had with him. And you'll get the same learnings from the master that I had. He had the same seminar with Angie and me. You can watch it. You can learn. You can write it down. The value is close to $800. I paid $3,500 to get Steve in here. And it was worth every cent. And here is the monster bonus. That's exclusive to this webinar. You won't find this deal anywhere else. I guarantee you, that's impossible. This is a special invite to the Kettlebell Dojo. This is the #1 kettlebell community from all around the world. The dojo has its own course system, exercises, belt tests, leaderboards, and challenges. And we have all one common goal. We want to become kettlebell black belts. What I offer you is lifetime access. You normally have a monthly subscription that you pay every month. This is a value of $2,497. I'm giving you access for life to the dojo. And this thing is worth the price that I'm asking alone. This is what the dojo is. Look at the people. Look at the engagement. We have over 323 comments on people who are just getting started. Every Monday, I share a so-called AAP, Accountability Action Post, that you only are allowed to comment if you have done what the post asks you to do. This is a unique software with a unique app. No Facebook, no Instagram, no social media, none of that crap. It's a tight-knit community. You download the app and the only thing that you see is kettlebells. And currently we have a competition going, like I said. And we have leaderboards. This is the gamification process that I was looking for so long. Think about this. You now have your kettlebell journey, your fitness journey, and now we tie it to a leveling up process. How awesome is this? You want to level up as ASAP. The gamification process is the reason why the gaming industry has grown to billions, because we love to gamify our experience. And then you have belt tests. So you sign up as a white belt, and when you level up in your fitness journey, you get access to the next belt until you reach the black belt. And for every belt, there's a test that you have to film and share. You don't have to film it. You can do it. This is voluntarily, but it's awesome. It's fun. Look at everybody's sharing their belt tests. And look at what Thomas said. Check this out. This feedback, I had to screenshot it. I had recurring back pain from sitting too much and beginning shoulder impingement too. Both have disappeared completely with kettlebell training. It feels like a miracle. So I asked him, I said, Thomas, that's great. How bad was that pain from a scale from 1 to 10? My back pain was really serious. 7 or 8, I would say. I almost couldn't walk for some time. The shoulder thing was more subtle over a much longer period and only the left side, slowly diminishing my range of motion while lifting my arm. Stretching didn't help, but since working with kettlebells, it is completely gone. We get this feedback all the time, friends. I even think that, science has to get a hold of this. You have to use the kettlebell properly. The way we teach it, I believe it's one of the best ways to get rid of all the nagging pain, because we are bulletproofing our midsection. And if you have an enduring midsection, abs at the sides, the obliques, and then the lower back area, the glutes, the hamstrings, everything has to work when you train with kettlebells. But now you have to use it with the proper amount of weight, the proper dosage, and I believe this can cure back pain or at least eliminate it. Thomas is not the only one. And I had to ask, hey, was it serious? Because sometimes people are like, well, I had a little bit of pain, but it's fine. And then it goes away great. But he says scale from 7 to 8. People say, listen, I'm taking that victory. My goal today was not only to finish the workout strong, but to not set the kettlebell down. I'm taking that victory, and everybody's congratulating her. So she's like, wow, this community is like a coach. They even do it better than I can do it, because somebody's always online, right? And if you have something, you share your struggles, you share your ideas. This is so powerful. Plus, bonus number 3, you get 2 apps. One app for the courses with full lifetime access, and one app for the community with lifetime access. And that's a value of $247 per month. So this is what you're getting. 18 courses with a value of $2,799. Everything together, US dollars. The mobile apps, $247 per month. The Kettlebell Dojo, lifetime access for $2,497. And Steve Carter's 3.5-hour seminar for $799. Total value, $6,342. But now you get a webinar bonus deal. Check this out. This is not what I'm charging. But how about 50% off, right? At 50%, right? That's a big deal. 3,171. All right, 50%. Well, easy. How about we say 75% off? Well, 75. Wow. That's $1,585 US dollars. Ooh, that's a good deal, right? Listen, I'm stretching it to the limit. Plus, I got something for you. If you're saying, no, that's still too much, I even got something for you that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to give you 90% off. 91% off. You get it for $579 US dollars. That's 90% off, friends. And you have it right here. You'll save $5,763. So you're getting Kettlebell Ultimate, 6-week challenge, fan favorites, the Hybrid Style Masterclass, 90 gains of kettlebells, 90 days of kettlebells, the Iron Flow, access to all additional courses, the IKFF seminar with Steve Carter, the Kettlebell Dojo community access, full lifetime, and you have the mobile apps. One app for the courses, one app for the community. That's a value of $6,342, and you get it for $579. That's 91% off. So here's what to do next. You can click the Get Started button right now to complete the checkout process. And after checkout, you'll receive 2 emails. Email number 1 is to set up your course account plus the app. Email number 2 is to gain access to the community, right? So 2 emails are coming once you've signed up. And access is lifelong. So click Get Started and change your life now, just like these people. Like I told you, this is not for fun. This is not a fluke. These are regular results that we have. So we constantly change our offers, so this won't be around very long. So you have to jump in right now if you're interested. And it's only valid in the webinar. You won't find it anywhere else. So these $579 for this awesome Kettlebell Ultimate, you save 91%. And this is my final input for you. And then I'll let you go. If life gets in the way, always revert back to the basics. How do you learn the basics? By opting in with a coach, working with a proven system, learning the ultimate basics. And once you understand them, you do them on a regular basis, because consistency is the key to success. And I think you know this. This is not just training. This is almost a universal principle that everybody understands. If I stay consistent, then I get the results. But with kettlebells, you might need some technique. You might have to understand how to move your body around the kettlebell. You have to understand how to move with the kettlebell. And this is what I'm offering you. So once you get started, your motivation goes through the roof. And then maybe it goes back down a little bit, which is also totally normal. And that's why I want to leave you with this. 85% of our clients train once a week or 40 times a year and get massive results. You don't have to train every week. You don't have to sacrifice your life on the altar of fitness. You can do this. And the kettlebell is so powerful that you can change your life in the comfort of your own home.